Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I ride into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise. So, students, the one thing I want you to take away from our time today, the nation is hurting and it's angry, but we will rise above it. And I believe that each and every one of you has an opportunity to be a part of how we do that. And so I don't want the level setting that I'm about to share with you make you sad and make you feel hopeless. Because if you look at how people are using their hope, their voices, and how they're binding together right now in the national media and even locally in our city, that gives me hope that if we work together, we can change what has unfortunately plagued the Black community for a very long time. So let's revisit why we're here today and why there is a national uprising. On May 25th, a 46-year-old Black man by the name of George Floyd went to a local convenience store to buy cigarettes. Whether he knew it or not, he possibly could have, because this has not been founded yet, presented a counterfeit bill to the clerk. The employee then called 911. Unfortunately, 17 minutes later, after the police arrived on the scene, Mr. Floyd was dead. This is not the first time that an unarmed Black man, and in some instances, women, have been killed. As a matter of fact, in the last 4 months, 2 other that we know of, and other stories are coming out, but 2 other Black young people were killed who were unarmed and who were just going about their day. One was Ahmaud Arbery on February 23rd, a 25-year-old runner who was running through a nearby neighborhood and was mistaken for someone who had allegedly been either robbing or looking to rob homes. The other was Miss Breonna Taylor, who on March 13th was sitting in her own home and whose home was mistaken by police, and she was shot and killed. This is why the nation is hurting, because it appears that a system is targeting Black men and women. And unfortunately, these 3 individuals are not alone. In the past 10 years that we know of, these are the many hashtags that have flooded social media. These are the many stories of young Black men and women who have died at the hands of the police or by people who were affiliated, either retired or who served in other security type capacities. So that's why we are here. And that's why the nation is angry. And in those cases, many of those, the folks that were accused of the murders got off without punishment. And so in the case of Mr. Floyd, what the nation is saying, what young people are saying, what Black and white and Latino and Asian and folks around the country, around the world are saying is that enough is enough. When does it stop? And when do the people who are responsible for the murders, when are they held accountable? And I will tell you, as a Black woman, I have felt hopeless. We have seen time and time again where the officers have been acquitted. But this time is different. The energy is different. The unity is different. And the call to action is different. And so I applaud each and every one of you, staff and student alike, who have taken time out of your day to engage in such an important conversation. I have gone to several of the protests here locally, peaceful protests, by the way. And I have seen people that look like me and people who don't look like me, people who are my age or older, people who are a lot younger. And they're standing in unity saying three words: Black Lives Matter. And so, again, I commend you for your time today. Know that on behalf of our board and our superintendent and our administrative team, we are so proud of the CAST network and all of you for the work that you do every single day in your schools, but also for the stand that you're taking to take time out of your summer schedule to say, what can I do to make a difference? How can I put my best ideas forward? Because it's up to us to all be the change that we want to see. The time is now. It's going to take all of us. This systemic racism that persists is not a 2000 thing. It didn't start in the 2000s. It started back way before 1600 when African Americans were brought here in bondage, and it continued on for 400 plus years. And what you're seeing now is the latest version of what has happened century after century and decade after decade. And we're tired. Time is up. And the way that we combat racism is, first of all, we confront it. And what is a way to do that? Through conversation. So here's what I'd like to ask you to do, students and staff. Let's have honest dialogue. No question is a dumb question. Let's assume best intentions in the room. This is a sticky subject. It's very hurtful and it can be very uncomfortable. But let's assume that everybody has a pure heart and that their comments are rooted in the fact that they want to make a difference. And let's put our ideas together. Students, you're not too young. Matter of fact, it's many of you. It's students your age around the country who are helping to lead this movement, and students a little older than you. So please don't dismiss yourself because of your youth. Your voice is equally important, and I look forward to our time together and to the ideas and the conversations that will come of this. So again, thank you so much for asking me to get to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to engage in this important conversation. Let's keep the family of Mr. George Floyd in our prayers and in our thoughts. Black Lives Matter, your lives matter. This discussion is important and it matters. So thank you, thank you, thank you.